going on, guys? Today I found something quite interesting. I was looking at this video over here called Answering Atheism, and a clip of Richard Dawkins came up. Now, if you guys don't know who Richard Dawkins is, Richard Dawkins is like one of the leading atheists out there. Like, I know he's very popular. A lot of people like his ideology and his thinking, and they like to listen to him speak. And I just brought this up because it showed to me that, dude, it's not a matter of proof, of evidence that these people want. Okay. It's a matter of I'm going to accept what I want to accept, and that's the end of it. And the reason why I'm saying that, guys, because it's important to know truth from what people decide to accept as the truth. Okay, so if I told you that, hey, there's a microphone on this table, and you can see clearly that there's a microphone on this table. You guys can't see it. If I put the thing down a little bit, you can see it there. But you can see there's a microphone on this table. But then you might have a person that's willing to not accept that there's a microphone on the table. I don't care if it's a microphone on the table. I don't have to accept it. So therefore, that is not truth to me. You know, we live in this type of thinking, in this type of world, right? Just because 2 + 2 = 4, well, it don't mean it's 4 to me. It might mean it's 4 to you, but that don't mean it's 4 to me, you know, and it's a very dangerous way of thinking. We can't even operate like that as a society. You know, someone had made a interesting thing, like we're talking about what we identify as. You know, and the guy made it a point to say, okay, well, cool. And I want to identify as a 65-year-old man so I can retire. He was only in like his 30s or 40s. And it's like, we can't do that as a society, right? Because we wouldn't have a working class, you know, but we want to kind of like play and bend the rules a little bit to where it fits our narrative of what we want. So the reason why I'm showing you this video, guys, is because it's not a proof. It's not about the evidence out there for Christianity. It's not. Like, people don't want to accept it. So I'm going to show you this video. It's only about a 1-minute clip. And then we're going to go ahead and I want to break this down and talk to you guys about the evidence that has been found that people neglect, bro. And they just don't care about. So let's hop into it.
What would it take for you to believe in God?
Well, I used to say it would be very simple. It would be, you know, the second coming of Jesus, or a great big, deep, booming bass Paul Robeson voice. Saying, I am God and I created. But I was persuaded mostly by actually Steve Zara, who's a regular contributor to my website, richarddawkins.net. He more or less persuaded me that even if there was this booming voice and the second coming in clouds of glory, the more probable explanation is that it's a hallucination or conjuring trick by David Copperfield or something. I mean,
Now, I'm just going to pause it for a second because you can hear the crowd laughing, and I get it. He's trying to make light of the situation. But basically what he just said is that Jesus Christ can do exactly what he said that he's going to do in the Bible. Word for word. Have a second coming of Christ. He said even God could be talking and the whole world could be shaking in his big booming voice, and that wouldn't be enough. He said that I would think I was hallucinating. And that's scary, right? Because that's like me saying, hey, prove that you exist. You're like, what do you mean prove that I exist? Well, prove to me you exist. What do you mean? I'm right here. What do you mean I don't exist? Well, how do I know I'm not hallucinating? You know, how do I know that you actually there? How do I know that this isn't some trick by David Copperfield? Prove to me you exist. You know, it's borderline like scary, you know, because at what point are we looking at evidence versus to what we are just willing to accept? Like, that's almost like a sign of like paranoia, right? But let's keep going.
I mean, he made the point that a supernatural explanation for anything is incoherent. That it just doesn't sort of it doesn't add up to an explanation for anything.
So what would persuade you?
Well, I'm starting to think nothing would, which in a way goes against the grain, because I've always paid lip service to the view that a scientist should change his mind when evidence is forthcoming.
Did you hear that?
I can't.
Did you hear that? Scientists should change their mind when evidence is forthcoming. And now he's throwing it out the window. When it comes to God, no, that don't even apply. You know, there is nothing that you can say or do that would help me understand that God exists or prove to me that God exists. And now I pulled up some tabs over here, guys, just because I just want to show you and help people understand, bro. Like, if you are someone out there that is wanting to know God, ask him to reveal himself to you. Pray. okay? Because there are so many things. I mean, so many things that are buried, that are hidden, that are stuffed under pillows, whatever you want to call it, suppressed by society, because what God wants from us and what society wants from us are two entirely different things. We live in a world that encourages sin nonstop all the time, right? We justify lying. I had to lie. I was also going to be fired from my job. I had to lie. We justify being sexually immoral. I gotta be myself, man. Sometimes I gotta really explore my sexuality. Like they push this stuff into our society. They want to bury the Bible. They want to allow us to sin as much or as little as we want, and it's going to have repercussions. But I want to bring up these other tabs because this just goes to show, like, dude, if you just go look, because that's all I've been doing for like the last probably like 3-4 months, just looking to see what evidence I can find, because people want to call it a lie. I was like, well, I don't want to be believing in a lie, so let me go find evidence that supports what I'm saying, because that way when people come to me, I can show you like, hey man, Christianity is not a joke. You have A, B, and C that you can bring up as points, but it doesn't matter what you want to bring up as points and evidence if they don't want to accept it, right? Again, if this microphone is here, but they're like, I don't want to accept that microphone being here, well, then you can't do anything with that. You let that person not accept that and go on about their day, right? But there's consequences for not accepting this microphone, is what Christianity is trying to tell you, And so I just want to show you guys some things that I found. So the first thing I have found was that the biggest thing to me was the account of any miracles, right? If the Bible is claiming, first off, if the Bible is claiming that there is some supernatural, thing or claim that took place, then there either is proof of that or there isn't, right? And if there's proof of that, that is scary, because that would mean that the Bible might be even more accurate than what it already appears to be. Now, if there's supernatural claims along with the insanely accurate archaeology within the Bible, now you're talking about something that is terrifying, because that's something that we can't even fathom, right? What supernatural thing have you recorded or seen as a person, right? But then to go back and find evidence for these things is crazy to me. So the first thing I found was the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. If you guys don't remember, Sodom and Gomorrah was a city that came down. That was basically entirely wicked. Abraham was pleading with God saying, hey, God, if there's 10 people in there, don't destroy it, please. If there's 5 people in there, don't destroy it, please. He went all the way down to 5, right? From 30 to 5. And the Lord said, he said, even if there is 5 righteous people in that city, I will not destroy it. There was not a single righteous person in that city. So the Lord destroyed it. So in that city, there was 2 angels that went to go destroy the city. Okay. And beyond that, I believe there was, if I remember correctly, I watched this video, but I just found it just completely amazing that there was also like raining fire. Okay. Fire and destruction on this city. Now, we have never seen anything like that. Okay. We may have seen like a meteor hit somewhere and there's a crater, but to be continuously raining fire and destruction on a city that was claimed for that to happen, especially back in that time, that is nothing short of supernatural. Okay. And this is a video you can go and watch. You can go and check out. You can go and investigate yourself. These are people with degrees that are highly educated, that are seeking the truth. All right. This channel is called Expiring Philosophy. This is something you can go and look. But some people will be like, yeah, that's not enough. It's just made a video, right? So then there's this, right? This is a papyrus. This is a papyrus of an Egyptian sage, okay? And this papyrus, I'll play it here in a second, is complaining about the plagues that are hitting Egypt while Moses is trying to flee the Israelites. Now, think about that for a second. The Egyptians were polytheists. If I'm using that word correctly, that means they serve multiple gods. Now, this particular papyrus is this Egyptian complaining to the all god, which in that time was probably Ra, an Egyptian sage, writing and complaining about the water turning to blood, the death of the firstborns, and the sun won't rise, with almost zero motivation. Didn't even serve the same God. Didn't even know what Christianity was, but he is claiming and saying and writing to his God, right, about these plagues.
And the events were before that. But on it, we have this Egyptian wise man who's basically complaining to who he calls the All Lord, which is probably the sun god Ra. And he talks about this chaotic time in Egypt. And Steve mentioned the river turning to blood. That's one of the things that he talks about. But he also discusses other things like there's plague and pestilence throughout the land, and the fields have been burned, and there's a lamentation, crying throughout the land, and the children of these different classes have died, and the kingship is overthrown, and the sun does not rise. And if we go back and look at the different plagues or signs of Exodus, we can correlate several of those to what's found in this Ipuwer papyrus or Admonitions papyrus.
And that's what I mean, guys. There's tons of things out there like this. But that's not enough either, right? Nah, that's just made up. That's just, nah, man. Nah. And it never stops, guys. It never stops. I'm telling you that this stuff goes so much more deeper than this. How about 101 confirmed archaeological discoveries that pertain to the biblical accuracy? That's not enough either. Okay, well, how about the proof of the flood? We claim that the earth was millions and millions of years old and that, dinosaurs died millions and millions of years ago. Well, they just found dinosaur bones with tissue still attached. And if you go watch that video, scientists explain to you that that is completely unbelievable. That shouldn't even happen. If what we claim, how old the earth is, that there should be no tissue, that would be complete dust and nothing on that bone. But they went to pull it, it stretched. And there's a video out there you can go and find on this stuff. You got 101 archaeological discoveries, the earth not seeming as old as people claiming it to be. And then you also have proof of a flood, not just a local flood, but a global flood. That's not enough either. What about the eyewitness accounts, right? Luke, Matthew, John, people that watch and documented what Jesus did. That's not enough either. The miracles he did, the preachings, the way he died, that's not enough either. What about evidence showing that the prophecies came true that are in the Bible? That's not enough either. Let's just say that nothing that we can accept is the truth, right? Let's say that you found proof that this earth is millions of years old, and I found proof that the earth is 6,000 years old. Well, one of them are true. Right. But neither one of us have the tools and necessities to go and actually know that those things are true for ourselves without someone else telling us, without reading an article, without watching a video. There's no way for us as individuals to go and test that. Let's just say that that's where we are, for example. So you choose to believe what you believe. I choose to believe what I want to believe. Now, here is where things get like a little like logically. Like, I'm not a gambler, so I like to do things that usually make sense to me. Well, when you die, either hell and heaven exist or it doesn't exist. Okay. So if I'm wrong for believing in God, where do I go? The same place that this person is going, right? But guess what? If you're wrong for believing in God, where do you go? I don't even understand how that, like, if you want to use that logic, people have used that argument, like, bro, you don't know if any of that evidence is true. It could all be Photoshop. So then how do you know that dinosaurs existed? How do you know it's not just told to you? Were you there to go physically dig up the bones? How do you know they weren't crafted? You know what I'm saying? Like this big conspiracy shenanigans, bro. Even at the end of the day, when you think about all that, when you die, right, you're going to either hell or heaven, or it doesn't exist. In this situation, if you don't believe in God, it's a lose-lose. There is no benefit that comes out of it. So I don't even understand this argument, because I had this argument with my sister that nothing that you can find is actual evidence. For what the school teaches us, for what I know, none of it's evidence, because you can't go prove it yourself. So even with that thinking, guys, you're still better off, far off, in believing in Christ. So the bottom line is, guys, there's tons of videos and articles and things out there you can find that backs the biblical accounts that happened, like a global flood, the plagues that hit Egypt, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, where there was raining down actual fire, and then they actually found Lot's wife who turned to stone, right? Like, these things should not be findable. This should not be this. If this is a joke, this should not be real. Okay. So if you are a person out there who is a non-believer, or if you are a Christian yourself, don't let people talk you out of your Christianity or your faith because of we don't have evidence. Just when I tell you, man, these people, they don't want to look at evidence. They don't care for evidence. Okay. They accept the evidence that they want that makes their reality. Okay. And that's the world and society we live in right now. Your truth is not my truth. But if I told you there's a mouse on my desk, it's either there or it's there. It's not that, well, I don't want to accept the mouse on your desk, so it's not there for me. Okay, that what world are we living in? Like that does like where, bro? You know, and it's scary because that's what our society is heading towards. So I just want to make this a video, guys. I thought this was pretty neat, and just don't let people talk you out of this stuff. And I made this video because I won't be going back and forth about people, about evidence as much. I'm sorry. Like, it's either you can choose to go and look and accept these things for yourself, but there are people who will have everything in your face, just like Richard Dawkins just proved, and will outright reject Christ, man. They don't care. He can come down and he can do everything he said in the Bible, come down in clouds and his second coming and everything. And you know what? I'm probably just hallucinating. This didn't really happen. All these people in my face that are dying, they're probably just hallucinating, you know? And it's so bizarre, man. And when you think about that, like, these are scientists, right? I think he's a philosopher, but like I think he's also a scientist. And this is someone that's highly educated, bro. Like, this man is well respected. People look up to this person. And this man is talking like that, like evidence. Yeah, no, that won't change my mind. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do for me, man. Smack that like button if you made it this far. I'm out.